Great. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Lovely, lovely. So it's a great pleasure meeting all of you here on this virtual platform. I am an astrologer. I've been studying for almost 15 years, and I'm still studying. I'm a student even now. Astrology is such a vast field that you feel that you've never learned enough. It's like medicine. There's so much to unveil, so much to learn. The more you get into it, the more you discover beautiful secrets. And astrology is my passion. It's not my profession. By profession, I'm a brand strategist. I have worked with the corporate for over 28 years, building brands. So this is my profession, and I left. This is my passion, and I left my profession to follow my passion now. So I am following my passion of astrology and spirituality. I am a Dikshit. I have my guru, so I am into the path of spirituality as well. So with everyone's permission, I would like to take us further. Here today, I would be talking of very basic about what and who of astrology. What is the Vedic astrology? You know, how do we arrive at the chart and various things? So I will, get on to our invocation, which already has been done. So I will just skip the invocations because we have already invocated Lord Ganesha and Guru. So I'll just pay my obeisance to the divine in you, by whose grace we are present today. Because without his grace and approval, we wouldn't have been here together. So today we'll talk of the basics of astrology, the theory of karma, why we are going through what we are going through, what is our purpose in life, why are we here, what is what is the role of karma and what is the role of free will? Where does the destiny end? Where does the free will begin? Or if I may say that, is everything in the control of destiny, then why are we working? Why are we performing our karmas? And what is a horoscope? A horoscope is called by many names, by many people, Kundali, Janampatri, depending on what language, what part of the world we are in. And how does that whole thing arrive at, and how does an astrologer read a chart? So I'm taking to very basics. At any given point in time, if you're not able to understand, you can ask questions, or I don't know what's the format. You can note the questions and later on ask. Or you can, if you feel this is too basic, you can even tell me at that point in time. I can stop this presentation and I can talk of other topics, because we are, astrology is like an ocean. Sorry. So I will first not use the word astrology. I will use the word Jyotish. Okay. I'll use the word Jyotish. And we can see some fireflies around the jar and fireflies inside the jar. And if you observe this picture, fireflies have the light within which they emit. And it is intentionally that I have taken this picture. And you will understand this why it is. Jyotish, actually, if we break up into parts, it's Jyot and Ish. Jyot is the light, enlightenment, and Ish is in Sanskrit called Ishwar, the God, the Almighty, the universe, and the, as we call, the Brahman. So in certain words cannot actually be explained very well in English. So I will explain what we mean by Brahman. It's already said in one of our scriptures called Shiv Puran, where it is mentioned that at any given point in time, there are multiple universes existing, which we say that today that there may be life somewhere outside, There are lots of researches happening, but it's evident and it's already been written in our scriptures that there is already multiple universes existing. That means there could be many Earths, there could be many suns, there could be many such planetary positions. So this is what Jyotish is, which actually doesn't translate very well into astrology. So which means if I put in a very simple language, that we are the power, we are the energy, we are universe ourselves within the larger universe. So we are the smaller universe within the larger universe. And then I can explain to you why this, if we understand this, we will understand astrology and we will understand how these whole interpretations of astrology happens. So astrology is actually a limb of Vedas. It is a part of Vedas, and that's why it's called Vedang. Ang means limb, a part. And believe you me, it is real. It's a science of guidance through the actions in the universe. So there is something happening in the universe, and there is something happening within us. These both interact. So a very famous astrologer said that astrology is a science of correlation of astronomical facts with terrestrial facts. And we are in the terrestrial area, and there are astronomical facts having, around us. Clairvoyance, and I would say only intuition, I would not say completely intuition, but only intuition are not part of astrology. Astrology is much far beyond it. As humans, we are creatures of actions. To act is to live. So we act to earn our living. We act to take rest by the body. We act to fulfill our desires. So there are actions happening all across, and that's the basic reason for human creation. Another very basic reason for human creation is to reproduce and to keep the race continuing. And that's also one part of astrology. And I will, whenever in next few sessions, I'll talk about that. Also, we all know a very simple law of Newton: action has a reaction. And so is the faith of astrology, is the basis of astrology, is the foundation of astrology, that a karma has a karma phal. Now, astrology is astronomy, the astronomical facts, the mathematics, and the interpretation. Astronomy is not controlled. It is what's happening in the universe. Mathematics is what we actually calculate. And interpretation is a human intervention, an astrologer who does it. So when we say astronomy, we in Vedic astrology only consider 9 planets. Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune are not considered in Vedic astrology, which is considered in Western astrology. We feel that this is too far beyond in the universe to impact the human life. And when we say mathematics, there is a very big part of Jyotish called Ganit Jyotish, which uses the latitude and longitude of the place. And that's when we can draw out a chart, because when we calculate, we are able to take out the planets, the degrees of the planets. And if you see the horoscope, it happens. We can take out those planets, their degrees, their placements, the nakshatras, the padas of the nakshatras, and the further division chart, the Varga chart that we call. And interpretation, of course, as I said, there's a human intervention. I always say that astrology is quite similar to medicine, because it's about us. When we face any troubles, we go to a doctor, and the doctor does certain tests, certain analysis, asks us few questions, and so does an astrologer. They will ask you certain questions. They will ask you, what have you faced at this point in time, to arrive at the right interpretation. And, very interesting. As I said, it's a pure science based on logic. This astrology has been written thousands of years back. So naturally, phenomena which was written over there 1,000 years back may not be applicable in all the yugas. So today we are in the yuga of Kali. Kali is a yuga of the demons, the asuras. So we are in the yuga of asuras today. Hence, we always take into consideration in astrology sthan, that is the place, the kal, the time being, and the patra. I'll just give you a little more details on this. Why we take sthan is, for example, if you have come to me from UK and I'm in India, the cultures are very different. The time is very different. So when I calculate your kundli, I take into consideration the time zone. I take into consideration your daylight saving. If I don't take that into consideration and don't do the mathematical calculations correctly, my chart will not come fine. So Sthan plays that role. Your culture plays that role. I may tell you something which may not be culturally right for you. So that plays that role. Kal, the time, the space we are in. That's also very important. So when astrology was written, they talked about a horse, a chariot. Today, the horse, the chariot, or for example, the demons, etc., are not there. Today, we have, aeroplanes as, we have the luxury cars as vehicles, or we have the best of houses. We have a different attire we wear. So it is the adaptation to the current time. And Patra. Patra is us. Now, a particular house represents multiple characters, multiple karakattvas as we call. So, for example, I say a seventh house in the astrology, or let's say fifth house in the astrology. Now, fifth house represents the mantra sadhana. It represents my purva punya, purva karam, last birth karmas. It represents education. It represents children. Now, suppose I'm talking to, and the fifth house is active of a particular person. I'm talking to a child who's 10-year-old. I can't say that you may have a child. Of course, then in that case, I have to look at the education aspect. Okay, I have to look at the health aspect of the child. So that is why these three factors are very important, and that is why I would again come back to the fact that it is a very, very logical concept. It is science. It is scientific based. We'll come on theory of karma. What is a theory of karma, and what are the types of karmas that we have? There are basically three pillars of karma. And the karma, the three pillars are reincarnation. That is, we take birth again and again. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam means we will take birth again, we'll die. We'll take birth again, we'll die. So reincarnation is basically that we carry forward the balance of the credit and debit of the karmas. The karma themselves, which is the human desire, because we live for the action. That is the basic character of a human being. And of course, the fruits of the karmas. That is why we perform. We have certain desires. We perform karmas to achieve those desires. So these are the three basic pillars of karma: reincarnation, karma itself, and fruit of karma. The four types of karmas, which basically is the reason why we are facing what we are facing today, why we are going through happiness, why we are going through unhappiness, is because of these karmas. So I'll go in the order and I'll explain you each karma. So there is sanchit karma, which is an accumulated karma. There is prarabdha, which is what is the karmas that have ripened for me to access them in this birth, which we call as destiny, which is our horoscope. The kriyaman karma, the free will, the karmas which I perform out of the choice. So I always have a choice to take left, right, hold on, take the decision right now, or not take the decision right now, which is free will, which is the kriyaman karma, which is the verb, which is the action that we do. Agami karma is the future karmas. So the karmas that will happen, that have not been fulfilled in this birth, they go to future birth. They get carried forward. And the prarabdha, which has not been fulfilled, the karmas from our previous birth all go forward as agami, and they become sanchit, which means they get accumulated in a bank, like a bank deposit. And these karmas, whenever each karma is ready to be fulfilled, that comes as prarabdha to us as a destiny. Who decides this? The question for everyone's mind will be, who decides it? We ourselves decide it. As a soul, we decide which karmas with who do we want to spend in this lifetime? And that's when I have made this whole chart. It is so, it's a matrix. It's a matrix that Sanchit becomes Prarabdha, becomes Agami, becomes Kriyaman, becomes Sanchit. Now, when will this karma become ripen? When will this karma become available to us is not known. In an action and a reaction theory, it is very, very clear that if there's an action happening right now, there will be a reaction happening right now. You will throw a ball, the ball will come back to you. But in the karma theory, the karma can happen in this life. Today, I can perform a karma. Now, I don't know when will I get karam phal of this. And that is why in Gita, it is very clearly said that the karam phal is not the adhikar kshetra, which means I do not have the right or control over the karam phal, over the outcome of my karmas, over the fruits of my karma. It is not that I should not worry about the karma. So that is one way of saying that you keep taking actions, but don't worry about the karma. But actually, God hasn't given us those things in our hands. And that's when the God in Gita itself says, Hani labh yash apyash jivan maran vidhi at, which means in the nutshell, outcome of everything is in the hands of vidhi, which is destiny, which is the Almighty. Now, we come to the subject of karma and free will. Where do my karmas matter and where does the destiny play and where does my karma of today happen? So if I divide the karma in three forms, there are drid karma, which are the fixed karma, which I cannot change, right? There is drid adrid karma, which are semi-fixed, which I can change using my free will, my choices. And there is adrid karma, which are completely changeable. And this is our free will. So this is what there's where free will comes. So I get a job opportunity. I'm working in an organization. I get an opportunity to work in another organization. Now this is a free will, whether I want to resign from here and take up a new organization. This is not destiny. The job has landed to me by destiny. So I was destined to have a job change or to have a promotion. So by destiny, that job came to me. By destiny, I had to interact with those set of souls which will be in my new job role and pay off my debt or credit. But the decision to take that job or not is my free will. And if I don't take the decision of changing my job and staying on in my current job, then the next set of karmas that I have to pay off will be different. So the destiny and my life changes the route. So it is not that the life doesn't change its route. It's fixed. My life route is changed every day because of the decisions I make. So free will, my decisions, my choices play a very important role in our lives. And that's very clearly given in astrology. It is also seen in astrology because there are different charts explaining these two parts of it. So here I'm explaining to you how a chart looks like, because you must know how it is and what are each aspects and what it is. So on my left is a North Indian style, which is called a diamond style of the chart. Here, the top where I've written Lagna, where we have number 1, is the first house. And this is always the house of ascendant. In your charts, you would see different number over here. Someone will see 2, someone will see 3, someone will see 5, someone will see 10. Now, that is your Lagna, and that defines your physical appearance, how you are physically. That defines your character. That defines your face. That defines a lot of your nature. And similarly, second house, third house, fourth house, and what signs are there, which means, what Rashi is there, what sign is there, whether it's a Taurus, whether it's a Libran, whether it's a Gemini, then, then accordingly, the interpretations are done. But it is not only left to that, it is left to what degree that planet is in, what nakshatra that planet is in, what relation that planet is making with each one of them. So what aspects are there? What is happening currently in the environment while transit? The South Indian chart, if any South Indian person is there, is little different. There, the signs are fixed. In North Indian chart, the houses are fixed. Here, the signs are fixed. So you see Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. This is fixed. So wherever the Lagna is, so suppose the Lagna is Cancer, which is the fourth one, it will be written as ascendant over there. So these are two very prominent forms of the chart styles that are generally practiced. There are many. There are Kashmiri chart style, there's Bengali chart style. There are multiple chart styles that are there existing. Now, I explained it to you, Lagna. There is also very important, aspect which is generally seen in a chart is the Rashi, which is the moon placement. Lagna is physically who we are. Moon is our mind. So that becomes a very important part of a chart to see, because what is my mentality? What is my emotional conduct? So moon is my emotional conduct. So that Rashi defines my emotional conduct. Then another part which is seen is a sun sign, where the sun is placed. In Rashi, we saw where moon is placed. And you would have seen most of the times when we say the name has to be given to a person, we take out the name as per the Rashi, which is the nakshatra in which the moon sign is placed. So the moon may be placed in a certain nakshatra. So for example, moon is placed in the nakshatra of, say, Mercury, which is Revati. Then certain alphabets will be given that the person's name the child's name can be with these alphabets. And why is that so? There are two reasons for it. One, as a body, we have 70% of water, and so is the planet moon. So if we look at the construct of our body, we're largely water. And as humans, apart from the physical appearance, we are actually the emotions that we are, the decision making that we do, the chit. This is the chit which brings the, our karmas from earlier birth. So if you go deep into meditation, you will get into that chit and you will be able to see what happened in your earlier lives. Something what happens in past life regression. That is because the moon is the storehouse of all our memories of previous births. So that is why who we are from previous births, that's why the moon sign, the Rashi, becomes very important. The Janam Nakshatra, the nakshatra in which we are born, the constellation in which we are born, becomes very important. And that's why the name is given by that Rashi, to balance our emotional conduct. Then comes the sun sign. Sun is our soul. It's also our ancestors. So we are here today because of our ancestors. If even one of the chains, if the chain of the ancestors was broken at any level, we won't have been here. So because we have a lineage, the sun sign also becomes important. It defines who we are, what is the character of a soul, how strong we are, how can we handle certain situations as a soul, what has been our soul journey. So these are certain areas, things that sun defines. So these three things become very important. There are lots of other important things, but today I'll just touch upon these three. And as I said, these are 12 zodiacs from Aries to Pisces, and they're controlled by 7 planets. Sun owns Leo, Moon owns Cancer. These two own only one sign. Mars owns Aries and Scorpio, 2 signs. Mercury owns Gemini and Virgo, 2 signs. Jupiter owns Sagittarius and Pisces, and Saturn owns Capricorn and Aquarius. So these 7 planets own 12 signs. And apart from this, these are 2 nodes of moon, which are Rahu and Ketu, which are called shadow planets or Chaya Greh. Rahu, in fact, Saturn and Rahu, I would say, in fact, are very benevolent as well. Rahu is a very important planet for, for Kali Yuga. And so is Venus. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention about Venus. Venus owns Taurus and Libra. Venus and Rahu are two very important planets for Kali Yuga, the Kali Yuga. And Rahu being a demon and Venus being the guru of demons, the Shukracharya, guru of demons, are very important planets for current times. Then there is Dasha system, which is, you must have heard the words called Mahadasha, Antar Dasha, Pratyantar Dasha, Pran Dasha. So you are having a Dasha of Rahu, so and things is happening. Shani is playing with you. So these are the Dasha systems that we follow. And then we follow transit. All of you must have heard Sade Sati, very, very common word, Shani Sade Sati. So this is by the transit. When, Saturn transits to a certain part closer to the moon, the Sade Sati begins. It's a 7.5 period, 7.5 year period. Now, each planet has a certain speed with which they travel, which is how is calculated the chart. Also, that's when we see the transit, in what speed it travels. And Moon is a very important planet. Moon is our man, our chit. So Moon becomes an important planet, and hence we see the phases in our mind, of phases of, our emotions. We sometimes feel very happy, we sometimes feel very low, and that's because of Moon, because Moon shifts a sign every 2 days, and we see the movement of moons, full moon to no moon. So that's also shifting the rashis, the signs. Now, when I said there is karma and there is free will, so there are multiple division charts that we follow: D1, D9, D3, D4, various charts, Shadvarg that we follow. And Lagna is our Prarabdha, and Navamsha chart, which is D9. These two are the most important charts. This is someone's example, so you can just ignore. The Navamsha is our karmas. We need to tally both. If something is in the Prarabdha, not essentially that will come true in our life, unless and until the D9 chart, the Navamsha chart, also confirms the same promise. So this is the role of who we are, and how we perform. At times, what happens is that certain planet is not very good in the Lagna, but it is very, very good and strong in Navamsha. So the situation completely changes. At times, it is not as strong in Lagna, but in Navam, it's strong in Lagna, and weaker in Navamsha. Situation completely changes. So there are many states of a planet, whether it is a young planet, whether it is a old planet, whether it's a child, or whether it is combust, whether it's retro, various terminologies, which we can always discuss later, which tells us about how we will perform as a human being and how these planets will perform, will impact us. When I said transit, in the current day, for example, today, the planets are moving in the universe always, and they are in a particular sign. So, for example, Jupiter last month was in Pisces. Was in Aries. On 1st of May, it transited to Taurus. So now when we look at anyone's chart, we will say Jupiter is in Taurus. Now from Taurus, how is the Jupiter impacting? But in my natal chart, in my Lagna chart, the Jupiter, for example, if we see this chart, the Jupiter is in 3 number, right? Which is Gemini. Now from Taurus, Jupiter, how is it impacting? So we don't even see, it is not that once a chart is made, a horoscope is made, it's carved in stone. No, it changes every day. And as our life changes, it changes every day. Every impact changes, and hence change is inevitable. That's the only constant. So is the charts, so is the astrology. So these were the few things that I'm covering today. I plan to cover a few things in future, which is Mangal Dosh, myths about Mangal Dosh, Kal Sarp Dosh, Sadesati, Rahu Ketu, whether it's good or bad. Saturn, whether it's a friend or a foe. Do remedies work? We've been given remedies a lot. How to perform remedies, gemstones, and astrology, and many more. There are lots of questions that all of us have about astrology. Even I had before pursuing my education. Lots of questions, and today also I have lots of questions and try and find answers to it. So this is what we will cover. Nehaji, if you want me to cover, and we have time with us, if you want me to cover anything else, we can do that. Otherwise, we can take questions. It's already 40 minutes. So as you say. Over to you, Nehaji.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you, everyone. I think we'll take it to question answer. If anybody may like to ask anything, I'll stop the recording.